Welcome to Behind the Scenes. I am your host, Hector Montalvo. This show is dedicated to asking tough questions for you, the viewers. We bring you their responses, and we let you decide. Joining us here today at our MCTV studios is no other than Inspectional Services for the City of Lowell, Mr. Dave Ouellette. Mr. Ouellette, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
You know, it's not every day that this show gets to see government actually doing work for the people. We know that government does work for the people, but it doesn't appear to be that way. We recently ran into you doing some of the work that you do. First of all, tell us a little bit about the inspectional services and the work that you do, if you don't mind.
Yes, I was hired by the City of Lowell last December, and I got hired to be in charge of illegal dumping in the city. And that's to, if there's furniture on the sidewalk, I put one of these orange stickers on, and it's just an informational one, doesn't cost the homeowner anything. And it just says, this has been inspected for violation of the city's code of ordinances pertaining to waste and recycling. Any identified violations may result in fines for up to $300 per item per day. And then it just gives you a phone number to call for your bulky items pickup. And that's the beginning stage of it. And then I'm also, if there's illegal dumps, like let's say in schoolyards, parks, other areas, my job is to go through it, see if I can find any information on it, and proceed with criminal complaints or whatever after that.
Now you say illegal dumping. We know that there's illegal dumping going out in every city and town, and people just find open areas and just dump all that stuff. How do you keep track of who's coming in, and how do you find people that are actually doing illegal dumping?
Well, when I get a call either from the police, a citizen, or I stumble upon it myself from looking in the areas where I know that there's illegal dumping going, I spend the time, I go through every bag of goods that are dumped. I go through bureaus, I go through everything else. I found stuff tucked in corners, I found names, I found addresses. And from that, it's able to carry forward where I can actually get in contact with the police and have them get in contact with the person. A lot of the other stuff too, it's talking like this of going out in information. I talked at the Pawtucketville neighborhood group last night about all these items. So the more that the words get out and what we're doing as a proactive measure in the city of Lowell, it's really cutting down. I talked to DPW just last week, and they were saying that it's amazing how many less items that they are getting for the illegal dumping and stuff.
Now we hear that a lot of people tend to throw out big, bulky items on trash days and so on. These trash companies no longer pick up bulky items, correct?
Correct. In the city of Lowell, they started a few years back where you have your big red bin, and it's whatever's in there. And then if you have other items, mattresses, TVs, electronics, propane tanks, whatever it may be, tires, you just need to call Allied Waste. And there's a fee that just goes along with it. And they pick up every Friday in the city. And so Thursday nights at 4 o'clock, whatever you called for, you just put out on the sidewalk, and they come and pick it up. An example is like a big TV console with the built-in cabinet, a huge thing like that is only $22 to pick up. If you have mattresses, box springs, something, that's $12. A microwave is $15. Propane tanks are $7. And there's just all kinds of, a whole list of different items like that. But in Lowell, we're lucky there's a few other businesses that actually are into recycling also, which really help and partner with us. We have Northeast Material Handling. They're on 38 Prince Ave in Lowell, and they take anything that plugs in, and they take it for free. You just go over and you just bring it to them, and like monitors, CPUs, batteries, copiers, modems. I won't go through the whole list. TVs they take at 35 cents a pound, and otherwise than that. And they also take the big plastic toy stuff like you have in the backyard, the sled, the picnic table, and they take all of that stuff for free. So it just saves the citizens of Lowell. None of that you have to pay for to get rid of.
Right, so the people just have to basically pick up their phone, make a call to what company?
It's Northeast Material Handling.
And that's one of the companies that is partnered with the city of Lowell to be able to pick up these items for them.
Right, they own their business, and we got in touch with each other, and so I passed that info on to everybody also. Great. And then another great one too is Habitat for Humanity just opened a reuse store in the town of Borica. So anything that is slightly used, so if you're doing a construction job and your cabinets are still good, your doors are still good, a vanity or whatever, you just bring it to them, and they give you a receipt that you made a donation, which is good. So now you don't even have to worry about paying to get rid of it or anything. and then they deal with nonprofits or other groups that are helping people in the need and everything else, and they get another life out of it. So again, you don't have to spend the money to get rid of cabinets or all that other stuff if they're still in good shape.
Now, we noticed in going around different cities and towns, and each cities and towns have different policies in regards to trash pickup, but we noticed that a lot of the companies do not pick up trash bins that are overfilled. Is that a common practice, or is that something that people...
Yes, you're allowed to have it open probably about 8 or 10 inches, I'll say. A little bit, like if you just, but you just can't have it completely open and just stockpile it after that, because all the cities and towns that do have the bins, you can also get a purple bag, or depending on the town, I believe, but most of them are purple, and you can buy one of those. I think it's $1.75 or whatever, and whatever you fit in there, they'll take also. So there's plenty of ways to still get rid of whatever you need to get rid of.
So there is additional bags besides the actual bins that people can actually purchase?
Correct.
And they can put those remaining items that do not fit into the actual bin and put it right next to the bin, and they will
take it as long as it's in a purple bag. And there's also, we're very aggressive with the recycling. We have green bins that we give to every city resident, and that gets rid of your... So if you actually recycle, you take out your glass, your plastic products, your paper goods, and all that other stuff, and you put them in that, that's going to reduce that all the way down to begin with. And most families the red bin actually works to full extent of taking care of their items, their weekly items.
Now, we notice that a lot of cities and towns are actually hurting in regards to budget cuts and so on. How is the city of Lowell able to take a proactive measure in keeping services and for the people without raising their taxes? How is Lowell doing
and actually,
that?
we didn't raise any taxes last year. The city of Lowell just had a speech from the city manager saying that the taxes and the city council hadn't raised taxes again this year. Well, Lowell has lost staff over the years, but we focus of doing more with less. We target certain areas between the police, the fire, the code inspectors, building inspectors. They brought us all together in unity at the City Hall, room 55. So now our correspondence to each other is very easy. We just get back in the afternoon and we can talk right there in the room to each other. We have distinct assignments. We do proactive efforts. We do outreach, which is like right here, and outreach is like the orange stickers. And then we do definitely consistent follow-up so that they know that this is really happening. It's so that way we get the point across, so we actually reach our goals to make everybody know and the citizens know that we are helping them and we are trying to accomplish these things. Then we follow up if it does not go in the right way. We follow up through fines or liens if unpaid, and then we also withhold permits. So if there was something that somebody did illegal dumping or they did stuff like that, now if all of a sudden they want to add something to their house, they go to pull a permit. We have a very good munis system in the city of Lowell that everything gets cross-referenced. So when I come back, if there's items, I just punch it right in the computer, I put the house address, and now they can't do anything till they actually clear that up, till I clear it up on the computer saying it is a done product. And the city also has a thing that they call e.gov now. If you go to that on your computer, and you just put it in, so if you see a problem or an issue or something sitting there, you just go to your computer. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning, you just punch it in, and the next morning it gets assigned to the individual. So let's say there's a couch on the street on Bridge Street, or there's a whatever it may be. The next morning that would come to me because I'm in charge of illegal dumping. So the person will type it in, it'll go to my desk, and I have 24 to 36 hours to resolve it one way or the other. So if you, as a citizen of Lowell, do see an issue, a car that's abandoned someplace, it doesn't matter what it is, you just put it on that and it'll go to the different departments.
Now,
which really works.
What actually impressed me about you is that you are actually out there taking proactive measure after the actual trucks come by. Why do you do that? Is that you picking up after them, you're following, you're watching how they're doing their job, making sure they're not actually leaving stuff behind, or what are you actually trying to gain by going after?
My job on that one is the day after the truck picks up in an area. So the Lowell is separated like different areas, the Acre, Pawtuckettville, Centerville, and so on and so forth. So let's say they picked up in this area on Friday. Monday morning, I go to that area, and I make sure that there's nothing left on the sidewalk. My job is to keep the city sidewalks clean and clear. So as I hit as many streets as I can. When I see an item out there, I go over and I put an orange sticker. I try to talk with it. That's how you and I met. And then I talk with the citizen or whatever, and I just explain that it's not a bad thing, and just be very proactive and calming. Just let them know that it's, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. We'll work through it, and then how to get rid of the item properly. And then you just go on to the next one. But that's the whole idea, and it's mostly just a proactive measure of introducing the citizens to these ideas, and it's been a tremendous difference.
And it does make the city actually look a lot cleaner.
Yes.
By people like yourself taking the time and actually doing the work that the people pay you for. You're out there doing that particular job. What are some of the resistance you get from either landlords or tenants in regards to your performing your duties?
Oh, I could tell you some good ones. I had one up by a college area, and one of the landlords, the students had moved out, and the whole sidewalk, was literally covered from bureaus to TVs to clothes, bags of stuff. And it probably took up like a 12-foot section of the sidewalk. So I got out there and I put these stickers on, but I flooded it with them. I probably put like 12, so there's no way that he could miss it. So I went back there on a Monday, and the neighbor said that he was there cutting the grass and everything else. He just looked at it and laughed and just kept doing it, and he just walked right by it again. No proactive measure on his part to rid the sidewalk of those items, and the poor neighborhood, everybody had to look at that. So from there, I sent him a violation and a $25 fine. I have a ticket book, so I sent him a $25 fine, figuring that would get his attention, gave enough time for the mail to go through. Still nothing. And I went back, I talked with the neighbors again, and they said, yes, he had been there over, he had been back to his property a couple of times. So I upped the ticket. I went to a $100 ticket this time, and I sent it to him. I said, that should just get his attention. And he didn't do anything again. So at this point, I can't leave anything there because it's just not fair to everybody. So this probably took a week and a half or so. So after that, I called up DPW, and I said, okay, it's time to pick it up. I have this one person that just refuses to concede and, keep the sidewalk clean for the rest of the citizens of Lowell. So when they go pick it up, I asked them to send me an invoice for their time and their billing. So they sent me an invoice here. It's two workers, 2 employees, a supervisor, 10-yard dumpster, pickup fee, and $1.25 per ton of actual trash, minimum ton of $125. The bill came out to $825. And then I also sent them a final ticket for a solid waste and recycling violation general of that for a $300 ticket. So he calls me up screaming and hollering, of course, once all this other stuff happens, and he gets this in the mail. And we also put it into his file, so if he doesn't pay, it becomes a lien on his property. So he says, couldn't you have done something to at least warn me? I said, sir, I said, did you see all the orange stickers? He said, yes. I said, did you get the $25 ticket? He goes, yes. I said, did you get the $100 ticket? He says, yes. I says, what more did you need? I says, we tried to be very proactive. We tried not to do this. This is the very last step. We only use this for code enforcement to finally get you to concede and please keep the streets clean. I just had another one where somebody had dumped a couch in a city park. I went over and took a look, and the city park has wrought iron railings, and there's only a little opening in it. It's in the Pawtuckettville section of Lowell. Then there's a tree here. So behind all that is this great big couch. So I looked, I said, there's no way somebody pulled up a truck, 2 people got out, walked it through that little hole, and walked it over to the tree. So I said, it has to be that house right there. So I look, and the couch was all torn apart and ratted anyways. So I look up in the tree, and I could see a bunch of little broken and bent branches, and I could see a couple of little fibers hanging from it. I said, oh, that's a tooey. So I took a couple pictures of that. Went up on their porch, and the handrail was a painted one, so when they shoved it, the fibers just made like a little sandpaper mark on it, and plus the fibers got caught in the splinters. So I called up, did a police report on it, and then I said the same thing. I called the city, had them pick it up, and then I sent a $300 fine for dumping in the park. That person called up again, all furious and everything else, and they said, well, you should have called me. I says, we're not here to babysit you. I said, you own that property. I said, it was a legal dump in the park. You should go over and maintain your property. Watch every Monday morning, just go there. They said, well, you should call. I said, I'm not going to go by every Monday and look for you. I says, you're the landlord, you're renting, you're putting the money in your pocket. You need to just help the whole neighborhood, work with everybody, and you shouldn't be dumping in a park. But they paid it. And so that's one other way to keep it going, because between all of this and everything else, and like I said, the last thing we want to do is the big fines or the big money. But when they don't listen, it's a way, but it helps pay the salaries, it helps the thing, and it gets the point across at the same time.
Now, all of this is all civil action, the fines and everything, or is it criminal penalties involved?
Well, it's all just civil action. But the ones that I found that I'm doing now, the ones where they dump into the woods and I actually get a name and they were trying to hide and everything else, those I pulled the criminal complaints at the courthouse in Lowell.
So when does a civil infraction in your line of work become a criminal action for either the homeowner or the actual tenant?
Well, when it's just something like that where they left it out on the sidewalk or it was just the tenants throwing it and it's still on their property and everything, they didn't go out of their way to really cause a problem. They just didn't address the problem.
Right.
When all of a sudden I come across, like at the JGNS skating rink in Lowell, I got a call over there by the police that there was a bunch of stuff. I mean, there was this huge field of stuff and probably 2 truckloads worth of items. Now that becomes criminal because now they're going out of their way to specifically take stuff and dump it someplace else. And so I went through all that trash. I went through bag after bag. I found the person's WIC coupons. I found all different items in here, some magazines with their names and address. And so, but I found some stuff at the beginning of the pile, took pictures of that, some stuff in the middle of the pile. And then there was bureaus, and I flip over everything, and I went, as I was flipping everything over, and I looked in the top part of the bureau, they must have had too much stuff in the drawer one day, and when they pushed it in, his W-2 form got caught in the top. So I had his name, his social security number, his address, everything after that. And that was the last part, so that's when I called the police. We had done we did a whole full report, proved that it was all his. So then I called up, we had everything, all the items picked up, but he's not a homeowner or anything like that, so we can't attach it, so that's when it becomes a criminal complaint. I went to the courthouse and filed a criminal complaint against this person, which that case hasn't happened yet. I'm so new, this is my very first one.
So what are some of the other concerns that people can actually call the inspectional service for?
Let's just say if there's, they look at the neighbor's house and they notice the chimney is falling, or they notice that the deck is falling off, or they're building like too close to their lines, so they could call inspectional services as far as the building department for all that. As far as the health department inspectional services, if there's things inside the house that the landlord's not doing, and you have tenant rights and everything else, that if they're not fixing something, a leaky thing, there's mold growing, bugs or whatever, and they're not being proactive to do it, they call us on those. And then also if we have a thing called minimum maintenance, that if the property, like foreclosed property, if it's all overgrown and there's broken windows or all this other stuff, we get called to those, and then we have to address those issues. We deal very closely with a lot of the banks, Fannie Mae, HUD, and all that other stuff. We have a lot of their telephone numbers. Bank of America, we have the contact people. We try to find as many contact people as possible because we know all the cities and towns with this problem happening. If you're not proactive on that one, they become flop houses, drug houses. I was in one last week that inside there was over 80 needles. It was completely atrocious in there, the way the building was. And so one way that we work together with the police is that they gave me a call on it. They asked for a health inspector, and code enforcement, so I went out there. And we went through the whole house, made sure nobody was in there, first of all. And then I called up the ambulance company. They came out and they picked up all the needles, made sure the needles were gone. And then called to have it boarded up and stuff. But then I also throw uninhabitable sticker on the front that this house is uninhabitable, because without that sticker, if the police go over, they just have to keep saying to the people, please move on, you can't be here and all that other stuff, which makes the neighborhood bad because they just keep coming back. Once we put this as uninhabitable, I think I have one in here. Yes.
No, it sort of like becomes trespassing, and now the police department has the power to arrest.
Has the powers to arrest, which helps the neighborhood because the people after that will no longer be going to that house because now they're under the fear of being arrested, and they'll find a different place to go to.
And they get arrested, they have to go through the court system and
messes
pay
up their nights, they're in jail, and so all that other stuff. So it's just enough. Again, you're not going to stop what they do for a living, but how they live their lives. But at least it won't be detrimental to the other people in that neighborhood at that time anymore.
It's amazing how you guys are out there actually doing this type of work. I mean, you don't really see that, cities like Lawrence, Methuen. You do see it in bigger cities, Boston, New York City, and so on, where they do have inspectional services that do go around. So we were very impressed with how you were handling those situations where we never really see anyone in government actually doing their job, and here you were doing your job for the people of the city of Lowell.
Do you have that Reconics paperwork?
The which
The
paperwork?
Reconics paperwork, the one with the cameras.
Yes, yeah, I was going to ask you
Oh,
about
okay, yeah,
that. Tell
I
us
just-
about that, the camera stuff that you guys use.
Just to go to show how proactive the city of Lowell is working, you get these cameras there from Reconics, and they're security cameras, and you take them there. They go by motion detection, so you can put them anywhere, and they don't start taking anything till there's absolutely somebody there. And they work so good that we even have a picture of like a fox going, and you see his nose first. I mean, that's how sensitive it is. And so we have these. I have 9 of them hidden in the city right now in 2 known dumping areas. And again, this way I can get their license plates. I can get information. I can actually see them dumping. And again, it's just to get them to stop doing it because it's city resources when you have to call a city truck to go out there and get all those bulky items and everything else. And then plus they're ruining it for all the neighbors and everything. So these cameras are extremely well. We even have a couple that call license plate cameras. So even if you sneak into a park at night and you shut off all your lights and it's completely dark, the reflection on your license plate is just enough that the camera's made to pick that up. So you just see that license plate coming into the area and then that license plate leaving. So we're extremely proactive on all those
So
measures.
it's got infrared at nighttime as well?
Yes.
So you'll be able
They're
to take that stuff up.
$618 a piece, but it's worth every penny of it because they pay themselves back.
And now, what's the cost to the taxpayers if, or cuts in their services if these landlords just decide to ignore all the warnings and summonses and fines that you guys send them?
Because like that was a perfect example, like the ones that the whole streets were filled, the whole front of the house, you figure what that would cost the city in actually getting rid of all those items, because the city has to pay per truck, per item, by tonnage.
Yeah.
And so by doing this, it's saving them lots of money because all those items are no longer going through the city of Lowell's things that the landlords are actually paying to get rid of it. And anybody who tries to cheat, we try to catch them on this also.
Now, what about a dumping area? Does the city of Lowell have an area where if people don't want to pay to have their stuff picked up, they can actually drive it to a dump area? Is there?
No, because again, that would be defeating the purpose because this couch, the city after that, if they said you could put it here, then we'd still be paying to get rid of it at the other end. So there is no spots, but what they do, recycling days, there's lots of them for paints and for this and for all different types of items like that. They have different days. Also for yard waste, leaves, branches, everything else, there's plenty of times where you can bring it to a certain area also. So we do try to work as much as we can with all the businesses and the people of Lowell to try to alleviate, those items and all the other stuff. But still, a bulky item like this, the responsibility of the person to get rid of it on themselves.
And you think it would be common sense if you live in front of an area, you want to maintain that area to be a clean area. Is there a requirement? I know that some cities and towns do require that you clean and maintain the front of your property. Is that sort of a requirement for landlords in Lowell?
Yes, they call that minimum maintenance, and it's used sparingly because, it's hard to tell somebody, we're not Better Housekeeping and not Homes and Gardens and stuff, but let's say you had it strewed with garbage and beer cans and overgrowth that's really high like this, and it can create a hindrance or a danger to the neighborhood after that because it could cause a fire, it could cause all kinds of other stuff with all that other stuff. Those are the ones we'll write up under the minimum maintenance ordinance. And it's just, and that one, they just get a violation notice sent to their house. Said, we've been by your house and we noticed that, there's just way too much trash and your overgrowth. You just need to please trim it and clean the yard. And then again, if they don't, then that's when a fine is sent out. And then if they still don't, that's when it just goes to court, not criminal, but it just goes to civil court. And we have a person who goes once or twice a week for different items and it works. So all of a sudden, the next thing, the neighbors don't have to look at it. But we're not going to go out and say because your grass wasn't cut in the last 2 weeks or something like that. And some people do call, their thing is groomed so good that they look and then it gets to them. But that's not what we're there for.
Now, in the midst of the economy being the way it is, how are you able to maintain a staff of probably how many, 10, 15 people you have inspectional services? Because I understand all the inspectional services, including the health department, they all merged together?
Right. The health department as far as the code enforcement part, because still on Pine Street in Lowell, it's still like with the nurses and, that type. But over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 code health inspectors, and we have 4 building inspectors to cover the whole city. So we're not really overstaffed at all. We're doing more with less. And like I said, we definitely aim our focus on issues that really need to be addressed. And that's how we're getting through with the economy that there is, and then being proactive all the time, making stuff move forward so we're not wasting time, because once everybody understands the process and everything else, it works very well because it's not repetitive. We're trying to stop the repetitiveness of me going out every day and just seeing the same person, going out and trying to solve the same issue. We resolve the issues, and so that way it's not overburdening for us.
Now, do you guys consider versus raising taxes or services or cutting services, maybe even using grant money so services are not cut and people's taxes are not raised? Is that an option that you guys use as well?
Yes, the city has some very extremely good grant writers, and they chase down everything. They're always over there, and that's what every city and town in this economy should be doing. City of Lowell, for the Centerville neighborhood, I think it was a $900,000 grant for community policing, and that's thanks to our chief of police and their crew for uncovering these type of grants. And it's a very there's lots of people going for it at the same time, so you have to be very good at what you're doing to be able to even acquire those grants in this country. I think that type of grant, there was only 3 in the whole country that were given out, and Lowell was good enough to get one of those 3.
And we know that the Centerville section in the city of Lowell is going to be getting most of that money for refixing and fixing up the city of Lowell. Now, where can the people go in and get some more information? Is there a website for the city of Lowell, for your department, where they can go in and file a complaint, file a report, get additional information in regards to trash, the bulky items that you mentioned, if you don't mind?
Nope. You can go into room 55 at the City Hall, and there's all kinds of paperwork there, information there. I will gladly talk to anybody who comes in at any time. Also, if you go to the City of Lowell website, it's a very good website. There's all kinds of information. It's all right there for you. If you had a complaint, like I said, you can write it in there. If you have questions, you can put it in. Somebody will answer you. Like I said, extremely proactive, and yeah, the citizen can take care of any question they have. It will be addressed.
Now, we do know, really quick, we got less than a minute left, but we do know that other communities tend to look at what Lowell does as far as making legislations in their own cities and town. Why is that?
Well, we're extremely proactive. Like I said, the police, the fire, that all the inspectional departments work well together. The city manager and the councilors, we all work well together. We're all there for a common goal. And that's one of the things you get. Sometimes you just have to get past your differences. Like when it comes to the citizens of Lowell, they have to come first on some stuff. You fight the different battles, but on all these type of items, you need to just all work together, come to a common cause. And we also work very well with the city delegation.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming in, taking the time to talk about this particular issue. Hope the people of City of Lowell will be able to learn more about what they can and can't do in regards to trash and where they can leave it and who they can call. Thank you for coming in and talking about that. I want to thank you at home for watching. You've been watching Behind the Scenes. Join us next time as we go behind the scenes to ask the tough questions, bring you their responses, and we let you decide. Thank you for joining us.